Hello and welcome to Wacky Wednesday with the Art Turf Podcast College Edition. We've got special guest Lisa here tonight because we're going to talk a little bit about the U. And as always, Michelle. She's feeling unloved and unappreciated. She was sitting in the waiting room for a little bit while Lisa and I were jibber jabbering. But she is here now. Hello, Kristen, who's already here in our comment section. If you are watching us on X or one of the other platforms, feel free to come on over to the YouTube where we talk with the people in comments. We may post your thoughts, your comments, or your questions on screen and answer them for you. Today, we'll talk a little bit about some of the games that we saw this last weekend and a couple of shakeups in the rankings. And then we're going to talk a lot about the ACC, in particular, the Miami Hurricanes, but in general, all of the ACC. So, ladies, I don't know who wants to comment first. We had two, in my opinion, two big games that had a major effect on the rankings. We had Alabama beating Georgia, and then we had Oregon beating Penn State. Did either of you get to watch those this week? Lisa, did you see both of them? Did you see one of them?
I did because, Penn State was my sleeper. I really honestly thought that, they were going to make some noise. But you know what? They're way overrated. They just can't win the big game. Franklin cannot win the big game. They don't, they seemingly get by every year because they don't really play many ranked teams. But when they do, they just can't get by them.
I think that was our big Sonia and I, when we talked about it the week before, was our sort of our thought was they haven't played anybody yet, and they were very highly ranked, and this would be a test for them. And so we would see how they do. And
it sets up nice for Oregon because, Oregon's the team that, they got to go through Ohio State, which is going to make it, which is going to be another great matchup. But I'm off the Penn State train. I'm officially off the Penn State train.
Yeah, Oregon jumped up 4 spots to number 2, and Penn State dropped 4 spots to number 7. So they basically switched positioning. And it was a 6-point game. It wasn't a huge blowout. We had a couple of really brutal blowouts this weekend. But, Michelle, we had that, Alabama-Georgia Georgia game. It was now they've moved a whole bunch of spots, but because Alabama had that loss earlier, 21-24. It was only a 3-point game.
I'm sorry. I'm having a few issues with can't see. I don't have my glasses, and I don't even know where they are.
I was gonna say she don't have her glasses on.
The throat's tickling. But yeah, I had an opportunity. I turned from that game pretty early, but Alabama just dominated Georgia. But I also thought Georgia was suspect in their rankings anyway. I'm not sure if they were as good as they were ranked, or maybe Alabama's turned around since they were beaten. But I don't know. I just know that Alabama dominated the game. From start. I think Georgia made a little push at the end, but it was all Alabama in that game. And and I was surprised. I mean, they looked pretty good. Georgia just looked really bad. Georgia looked just bad on both sides of the ball. And that was surprising. But when I look at the NFL and I see all of those Georgia players, and you see how many players that they lost to the draft out of those championship teams. I mean, we even have the quarterback. So when I say we, you know who I'm talking about. But, they lost a lot, and you can see that. I mean, you saw that coming through. And I don't know how they bounce back. Maybe that team looks like it's going to lose a few more SEC games moving forward.
Yeah, there was a pretty huge move in the rankings. Alabama moved up 7 spots to number 10. Georgia dropped 7 spots down to 12. The other two big teams that had huge movement this week both had losses. LSU lost and dropped 9 spots. And they lost to Ole Miss 19-24. And then Florida State had their first loss of the year. They dropped 10 spots all the way down to 18 after losing to Virginia in overtime. I thought
good
that was a harsh amount of drops for them. One of the things that I think is evident is with this new playoff format, like we saw, which started last year, where so many teams make it in. I think a lot of these schools were given very generous rankings at the beginning of the year, and they're starting to settle out. Ole Miss jumped up 9 spots to number 4 after that win. Everybody else just moved a couple spots. So I think we're going to see some more of that as some of these teams lose. I feel like the voters are more willing to not give them the benefit of the doubt because they know it's not just the top 4 going. It's the top 10, top 12. So since more teams have a chance to get in, I think they're being more realistic and more fair in how they're casting their votes week to week based on what they're seeing, not the reputation of the school.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think that those first couple of polls is all about the reputation of the schools and maybe a little bit of what they did last year, not even taking in consideration if they lost players or, who's coming back. It's just the schools. And you know how I feel. And I say all the time that they love to have Alabama up. So as long as Alabama has a hint of looking good, they will move them up as far as they can to make it harder for them to fall out. And so just that win over Georgia is not as good as I think, but you have to play. And that's why it's hard to see what teams are until they get maybe like in the 4th game, because sometimes they're not even playing anybody in those first couple of games. Just like we said, Penn State, right? This was their first test and they failed. And it's Penn State, although they did win the crowd. They always do. That all white was on, boy. I was loving it.
I will say I got aggravated because College Game Day was there, and the guys are all sitting at the desk in their white, and it was that Pat McAfee in the middle in some kind of beigey, creamy off-white color. So when the camera panned out, like his white jacket wasn't the same shade of white as everybody else's white. I'm like, who dressed him? He's trying to stand out. I am not a fan. I think he's as white as they get anyway. Kristen agrees with us. Georgia did not look good, but she does bring up a very good fact. They didn't quit. They made it a game. If you just look at the final score, it looks closer than it was. Those of us who watched it, it was never that close, but they did come back.
Kirby's not going to let them give up.
Nope. And they never have. And they have that rep with Kirby. Even when they get down, this team's a no quit on him. And that's a test of the coach. I mean, that's good coaching right there. It's a good staff you got going on because these kids just keep going and keep going. And that's one thing you can say about Georgia is that there's no fight. But, God, Alabama owns them. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. They can't beat these guys. Georgia's definitely Alabama's definitely their Achilles heel because they just can't get by these guys.
Even when they've had better teams.
Right.
They seem to falter when it comes to Alabama. So
yeah, it's almost like a trap game for Georgia. It's like this is the game that, they always,
It's like the Cowboys in Green Bay, but I know that was yesterday's show, so we won't talk about that.
So it's trap games.
It's a nice early in the season meeting for the two of them. It feels like they meet at the end of the year, closer to the end of the year, and then they'll meet again in like the SEC championship a couple weeks later. This gives Georgia time to figure out what's going on before they may have to play them again.
Especially with the SEC schedules. These teams have brutal schedules. I mean, when you look at Alabama, they've got Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, let me tell you guys, Vanderbilt is no sleeper.
Vanderbilt is always good for a few upsets.
Yep. So, and then they got Missouri. They got top 20 teams the next 3 outings. Alabama does. Georgia has the same. It's like, so these SEC schools, they just beat each other up before the end of the season.
Yeah, so the coaches poll is pretty well aligned with the AP top 25 this week now. Ohio State at 1, Oregon 2, Miami 3, Ole Miss 4. And then we get some disagreements. The coaches have Texas A&M at 5, whereas the AP has Oklahoma up in there, and then Texas A&M, then Pennsylvania. The coaches have Texas in at 7, and then Oklahoma at 8, Indiana at 9. Oof. Whereas the AP has Indiana and then Texas, Alabama at 10. Coaches still have Georgia at 10. I don't know what they saw that we didn't see.
How are you going to tell?
They
How
did
come
drop
Tommy
7
George is better?
positions, but they didn't move Alabama up enough over them. I think that loss that first week that Alabama had is still sticking in the coach's mind. They're not going to just let one win over Georgia make them say that Alabama's better than they are. So it'll be interesting, as we move forward to see how these settle up. Most of the games this week were pretty good. They went as expected, aside from the couple that we talked about. This week, I was looking at the schedule. I'm like, I don't think we have the only game we have against 2 ranked opponents that I can see is Miami number 3 against Florida State number 18. Florida State lost, and they just took a beating in the rankings. This, I think, is going to be a pretty tough game for the U because Florida's got a team this year.
Yeah, it's not going to be a cakewalk. I mean, and it never is. Records to me don't ever count with these two. This is one of those in-state rivalry games where anything can happen. They're all going to be jacked up. They're pumped. They're in Tallahassee. I'm going to be there. So the U has never won when a game that I've been in attendance, by the way. Sorry. If
you may have to go home at halftime, Lisa, if things are not looking good.
I am not even kidding you. Every single time. They've won at home when I've been there, but every single time I've traveled with this team or gone to see them in another stadium, they have not won. I know. I just figured I'd throw that out there. No. Sell.
I wanted to talk about the Hurricanes this week. I really wanted to focus on the ACC in general, but the Hurricanes in particular. After losing Cam Ward to the draft, and he's having his own problems in Tennessee, they will figure it out. But those are some pretty big shoes to fill for Carson Beck. Thoughts on how he's doing so far? I mean, they're undefeated. They're ranked number 3. Do you feel like he's doing well, or do you think they've just been lucky from a scheduling standpoint? How long can they go and keep winning?
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, Carson showed some things in the the Florida game where he looked rattled at times. He looked like the Carson that left Georgia. He looked like the Carson that we saw in the last year. And it was a little disappointing to see him, I guess, be rattled for no reason, really. It wasn't really a need to be that way. So that kind of scares me some. I think he's been playing well. Sonia and I did the show a couple of weeks ago where we were giving our preseason Heisman Trophy, and I was like, I know the guy that the quarterback at Oklahoma, and I said I'm going to go with Carson Beck. I'm like, he's playing well. He has the U's offense moving. And then the Florida game came in, and I know it's a rival game because it's an in-state game. Florida looked much better against us than they did in previous opponents, but that's what we expected. And he seemed to get a little rattled in the first half and a little nervous. And it wasn't until he settled down that we began to move the ball and began to look like the U had the first couple of weeks. So that scared me a little bit, but hopefully that game was a good test for him in preparation for this game, and that game was at home. So, I'm hoping that he stays the course and he stays calm and understand that he has a great running game. He has weapons on the outside. He has protection. He has things that can help him, and he just needs to stay calm. And his defense is playing well too. So, yeah. So Lisa, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Carson's he's got a nice size for a quarterback. He's 6'4", 220.
Yep.
He's a grown man. This is his 5th year of playing football. He played at Georgia for 4. They redshirted him. So he's coming into this, I think, with some maturity.
New Bo Nix. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
He's coming in with some maturity and all that. When I look at his stats just for this season, you can tell that something was going on. He struggled this week. Had under 200 yards passing for the first time all season. He's hit 200 or more. Heck, he hit 340 in that USF game, but he had no touchdown throws this week, even with y'all putting up 26 points. So something rattled him about Florida. Lisa, did you see that? get any sense of what it was? Was it just a different defensive team?
Yeah, no, I think it was all offensive. I think that the Canes are trying to establish a running game. So I think that this was the game that they thought they could probably work on that a little bit with Florida. So I just kind of felt, and what the scary thing is, Mario always costs us a game a year. He's always good for a game to cost us. I mean, you go right back to Georgia Tech when all he had to do was kneel and he got cute, but he always cost us a game. I almost got scared thinking that was going to be it, because I'm like, okay, we're running the ball an awful lot here. He's trying to, but then again, once we kind of talked about it and broke it down a little bit, I think this was the game that they were very confident in, that they could get going. But remember, Carson Beck came back. He declared for the NFL. He had that nasty elbow injury. He declared for the NFL, and he wasn't happy with the spot that the analysts thought he was going to be. I mean, some didn't even have him drafted going into camps as a free agent. But so that motivated him to get back into the college scene to try to up his stock in the NFL. The kid wants to play in the NFL. So that's a good motivation factor for me, that, hopefully Mario, if we get behind in the running game, that he'll turn him loose a little bit. But, Mario has this habit of trying to lose. All right,
who's
games.
Mario? Is he the head coach?
Mario's the head coach.
Okay.
And he does
on a first name basis. I didn't know.
Play calling gets to be suspect. That's the problem. And it got suspect in that game. But I also saw something in Carson just when they were throwing the ball. But the play calling can really, we won't even get on that.
It is
not, yeah.
Well, from a rushing standpoint, you've got Mark Fletcher Jr. and Sharmar Brown. Fletcher's got nearly 400 yards already. Brown's got over 200, and then there's the rest of the field. You've got Malachi Toney with 270 yards passing in receiving yards. CJ Daniels with almost 200, and then a whole bunch of guys hovering right around the 100 mark. It looks like Beck's got a lot of weapons. Like, he's got a lot of options on where he can go with the ball. 7 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and he's taken 3 sacks this year. That's not bad.
No, it's not. And like I said, in the game against Florida, believe it or not, we were averaging almost 4.5 yards a carry. So I mean, they and so to me, like I said, you had to keep pounding the rock, and they did, and I think that's what we saw. I just don't know, Florida State, if we're gonna be able to keep, but I think Mario will keep grinding. I'd like to see the kid kind of get turned loose a little bit. So
see, that's where Lisa and I, Lisa loves quarterbacks and I love to run the ball. So I like mixture, and I think that running the ball helps him. Will continue to help him, because then you can play off of that running game. And then, that loosens up the defense a little bit, because they have to watch for the running game. So, and we can run the ball. We can run the ball with either. I love Fletcher. I think I kind of fell for Fletcher last year. But he runs hard. He's a tough runner. But Beck, like I said, Beck has looked better in these first few games with the Canes than he has his last year. And if he continues to play this way, then the Canes should have a very well season. As long as Mario though doesn't get in the way.
Well, I'm saying he's always good for one game, and but with Beck, it's the same thing. We'll fall back. I mean, these are the games that the scouts are going to be at. These are the games that you need to win. These are the big games. These are the games that you are brought in for. This is it. Yeah. So,
and the biggest thing is, if we win this game, we own Florida.
That's it.
Because we would beat Florida Gators, UCF, Florida State. They could play FAMU while they're down there and beat them too, and we'll have it all.
Well, and that's, I mean, when I look at your division, the ACC, y'all haven't had a division game yet. You're going to have one this week against Florida. I feel like that makes it even more important. Not only do you want to own the state of Florida, but you're starting conference play. You need to handle business. Georgia's sitting atop of the conference right now from a standings perspective. Georgia Tech.
But that's because
you're 2-0 in the conference. Yeah, they're 2-0 in the conference, 5-0 overall. Virginia's 2-0, Duke's 2-0, but y'all just haven't had a conference game yet.
Well,
Georgia
Lisa and
Tech.
I are in the same spot because
I'm
Georgia Tech is our Achilles heel.
They
know how to
they
beat us.
own us,
They
and
know how to
if we
beat
can
us.
be ranked number 1, it won't matter. They'll kick our ass. That I have always said, and I do not know why other teams don't do this. That triple threat option is a beast to stop, and Miami struggles stopping that triple threat. And
Ever
it's
since
amazing.
we lost the coaches that know how to coach that.
Oh my God, it's amazing. But
get the person with the ball.
Georgia Tech's scary right now. Georgia Tech's, they're scary. I looked on the schedule. That's the first thing I started doing. I went right down the schedule to see if we played Georgia Tech because I'm like, oh, thank God we don't.
Is there anyone else in the division you're scared of?
No.
Oh, gotta say good.
I mean, I think,
No, I'm not. Just Georgia Tech.
I just want to win, baby. Just win, baby. That's all. Just win. Yep. Because we haven't. Have we won the SEC, ACC?
Nope.
We joined this conference from the Big East, and I thought we would dominate this conference.
Mm-hmm.
And we have never won this thing. So that's the first thing I would need to happen is for us to win the ACC, and I would love to win it undefeated.
Well, and we have, like I said, we have more national champions than national championships than FSU does, but FSU has more ASCC champions than we do.
Yep.
So I'd like to get that. I'm with you. I'd like to get that monkey off the back real quick this year.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at your schedule to see who you got. So y'all had your bye week. That's all done. You got Florida State this week. It's a 7:30 night game. Mm-hmm. Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt. So really, Florida State's the last ranked team you've got on the calendar. I think.
Watch out for Syracuse, though.
Well, it doesn't mean the games are easier. It just means there's going to be more of a tendency to be like, oh, this isn't a ranked team. It doesn't matter. But to your earlier point, every single one of those games on the schedule matters. If you're going to win the division and win it obviously undefeated, but even just to win the division, you've got to face the guys that you have next. And then when they're done, you go to whoever's up next and you go from there. So you got a road ahead. I think it starts this week. This week I think for you guys will give you a very good idea of what this team has. And the more I watched it back, the more I liked him. I liked the maturity. You're right. He tried to go out for the draft. It wasn't happening, came back. He saw some mighty fine defenses when he was at Georgia. And I think that was why I was a little confused in the Florida game, why he looked kind of rattled. I'm like, I know you have faced tougher defenses than this. Oh, yeah. What are you doing? But you're right. If Mario was trying to run the ball, there wasn't balance. He wasn't running to open to Carson. He was running just to see if they could run and almost practice his schemes to run the ball. I can see where that might throw him off his game a little bit, just trying to figure out what was going on. So I think it'll be interesting. We do have a couple ACC teams that are ranked. So obviously you all are, sitting at the top of those rankings. But it's a fun division. I think a lot of people overlook it because it's not, they look at the Big Ten and the Big Ten, the Big 12 and the SEC. But I think there is a lot of really good quality football in that division that's being played. A lot of rivalry games where they bring it, which I think this Florida State game is going to be one of the three I circle on my calendar for this weekend because I absolutely want to see this. And I always tell this for the people watching the podcast. We get a lot of casual college football fans, and they know the big names, the SEC, those, all that. And so every year we spend a couple weeks talking about some of these other conferences. Dana loves it when we do the Mountain West, and we can talk about Montana. But the ACC is a big conference. I don't know why it doesn't get the love it should get. But it's some very good football. If you're looking for games to watch on the weekends, try to find you an ACC matchup because I just like good football.
Yeah.
I don't always get that, especially in my Big Ten. I don't always get that. There's too much disparity. We've got a couple really good teams and then a few really bad teams, and they always seem matched up. And those games are not fun to watch. They're boring. They're stressful, especially when my team is losing to a team. That's one of them teams I call a basketball school, right? Any players in particular for Miami that we haven't talked about that you think we should be keeping an eye on? I think we touched on the big ones as far as the receivers and the runners. Lisa, anybody on defense you like?
Bain Jr. I think he's a beast. This kid's going to be a starting linebacker in the NFL day one. This kid's he's a beast. I mean, he is everywhere the ball is. This is a kid that you want to keep an eye on. They highlight film on him is awesome as far as if you're scouting this kid, because the play can be 10 yards around him. By the time the tackle's made, you'll see him in the picture, because this kid just is 110 every single play. And there's a lot of that. And that's what you look for as far as when you're scouting people. To me, you know, I always kind of look at the players on the sidelines, what the body language is, what's going on in the play when you know, you're sweeping right, linebackers coming blitzing from the other side. A lot of times you see them kind of pull up. Not this kid. This kid's going. And it's the truth. It's like the play will be 15 yards down the field. He's way in the backfield. But at the end of that tackle, you're going to see that kid in that pile, because that kid hustles. And I really love watching him play. And I just hope he wrecks. You know.
Yeah. So Ruben Bain Jr., defensive lineman, he is a junior.
I like the dude.
Born in Miami, Florida. So he's playing at home. He's got 11 solo tackles, 11 assists, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. I mean, we're only 4 games into the season.
He's a beast.
I mean, those are very nice numbers for this early. Michelle, anyone in particular that you're kind of enjoying watching play this year for the Canes?
Outside of Bain, because I watched him, boy, when I was at that Notre Dame game, and I'm like, just like Lisa said, the guy was all over the place. And I've already mentioned the running back. I'm sorry, I've already mentioned him, how I just absolutely love Fletcher, Mark Fletcher. But I don't know. I'm usually a defense, because I love the defense, and I like, I'm all over the place with that. But Miami just has quite a few people, and I'm trying to remember my tight end, my big dude.
We got to show some love to the offensive line. That offensive line
has been on point. That's what I said. Beck has plenty of time.
That offensive line is full of some studs.
Because usually that was one of our weaknesses, is the line. They've been doing a great job. As a whole. So,
yeah.
And our all of our tight ends are young. Just
tight
about
you.
outside
tight
of Nick,
you.
Jack.
Tight end you.
Yeah.
Bob checking in. Apparently Mario needs to get some help from Luigi on his play calling.
Who said that?
Bob. So here in Cleveland, when I go to the baseball games, to the Guardians games, whenever they score a run, they play the sound over the speaker of those Mario coins from the video game.
Oh, geez.
Do they do anything like that for Mario with the Canes? Do they make fun of the name or play with it a little bit at all, or no? Am I the only person who does that?
Nope.
See, they could be
they don't pay Mario any attention. I'm just joking.
Which is fine with me. Right. Just fly under the radar, baby. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's doing,
right. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's all.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, I got you. All right. So this weekend we're going to keep an eye on that little matchup you got. We'll see how that affects the rankings. It really is, for me, like one of the most important games of this weekend, because it's going to have an impact on the rankings. A lot of the other teams, they're not playing ranked opponents, but you get a loss. Any of those top 10 or 12 teams takes a loss this week,
and
that's
Alabama and Vandy.
As well.
There's 2 ranks. We got Alabama and Vandy this weekend, don't we? Or do they have a bye?
Alabama and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Let's go look at this. Georgia has Kentucky. Iowa State has Cincinnati. Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Wisconsin. That's going to be a tough game for Michigan. Wisconsin always plays tough in the Big Ten. They're very unpredictable, those Badgers. Texas has Florida. Notre Dame has Boise State. I don't know if there's enough season for Notre Dame to get from 21 up to it. They've looked really good the last couple weeks, but with those 2 losses, I just don't know if there's enough games left to get them moved up enough in the rankings to make the playoffs. Alabama Vanderbilt 3:30.
Yeah, game day. Yeah, because game day is going to be there because everybody thought game day was going to go to FSU and the Miami game.
Right.
But then after FSU lost to Virginia, they decided to go to the Alabama Vandy game.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a good game.
Yep, you're right. That is going to be a good one. So we got a couple to watch.
Texas I think Texas A&M and Mississippi State will be a pretty good game, even though Mississippi State's not ranked. Again, those SEC teams beating up on each other.
Why the hell is Texas in top 10? Really?
Because we won't. You know why?
But I know why, but good God,
Florida's going to beat them.
Oh, there's going to be a ton of teams that are going to beat them.
Because their quarterback is the son of a legacy
nephew
family. Because in that case, it's not the school that's getting ranked; it's the last name of the quarterback.
It has to be because that school's trash. That team's trash right now. I'm sorry.
They're a hot mess, and if Florida takes them out, that will bump them down far enough in the rankings that we won't have to talk to them again for the rest of the year. I like Arch Manning as a kid. I think he's got potential as a quarterback. He has not grown as much as he should have, and I blame that on the coaching staff in Texas. They should be doing better with him. Do better.
I blame it on the pressure of being a Manning. He's not getting a fair chance to grow, to grow, because everybody wants him to be Peyton or I'll just say
Eli.
Peyton. Not really.
Either one of them, but. Yeah, I don't know that the coaches are assuming he's getting coached at home. His uncles aren't coaching him.
Oh, they're not because his mechanics suck. I mean, when you look, and that's what everybody's saying. He's got this weird sidearm thing. I mean, really? You have 2 uncles that are Hall of Famers.
How are you not? How has that not been coached out of you yet?
Right? How is that not? How are you not looking at that going? And he's been at the Manning camps. Come on, right? For Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Throw the ball right. Get your feet right.
It starts with the feet. And I tell this to my grandson's 11. He's starting to play football. I said everything, no matter what position you're playing, starts and ends with your feet. I'll go to Brown's training camp and I'll sit in the neutral zone and I'll watch and I'll look at the feet of the offensive linemen and the guys on defense, and I'll make a list of who will not be here next week because they can't even get lined up right with their feet set and their balance set and their footwork is trash. And if you can't get your feet right, Baker Mayfield had a lot of problems with his feet his first couple years. Got that fixed, left town. Look at him. His feet are fine now. Yep. His feet are fine. I love Baker's feet. I don't know why we're talking about Baker.
Well, even in college, though, in Oklahoma, Baker was still always a very accurate quarterback. I mean, that's one of the MOs on him is he still, even when, you watched him in scout film and stuff like that, he can put that ball where it needed to go a lot of times.
He could. The problem with the transition that he made from Oklahoma to the pros is that he had very, very difficult time learning and memorizing plays. So Cliff Kingsbury, who makes me crazy anyway, would just draw something up in the dirt or tell him just roll out and throw to the open guy. So it's a lot easier to be accurate when it's not a play where you're throwing here and the runner's going to get there or the receiver's going to get there. You found your open man and you let him, and like he was designing his own plays in his head on the fly. When you got to rely on your receiver to run a route and you got to have that timing down, that's what took him a while to get. He's getting it now. He's doing just fine with it now.
Well, and you see a lot of them do it that struggle, even in the NFL, when you have these players. I mean, one of the guys that has made a tremendous stride and is totally a different quarterback is Dak Prescott from the Cowboys. Yes. His mechanics now are phenomenal. He was missing a lot of that. Now he's trimmed up. He's done some changes. He looks like a different quarterback to me.
I don't know. I think it was one of the throws to, I don't know who he threw to Monday night. And I was just like, he like threaded that needle in between 3 defenders. And I thought, first of all, Michelle's so excited that they completed that long pass. Secondly, she's pulling out what hair she has left because he's throwing in stupid. He's putting his receivers in a bad situation. But I tweeted, I see you, Dakota. I see you. He is.
All I know is they made me stay up till midnight. for a game that ended still 0-0. What the?
You
should loss for both teams.
Should have watched the podcast last night because I think any of those games ending in a tie,
but I was asleep.
It's ridiculous. If the first overtime ends and it's a tie, then we do penalty kicks.
No, they
get
need
the
to
field goal
stop
guys out there
the
and let them
rules.
kick field goals. If you don't want it to come to that, then score in overtime.
Stop changing the
never
rules.
gotten that far. Both their defenses stopped playing in the second half. That's all I can tell you.
Just stop the tie shit. I don't care how you do it. Just make somebody win.
Stop changing the rules. They had the rules. We didn't have that many ties. You score, you lose. Move on. Let's go.
Yep, I'm with you. Let's go.
We're gonna have you on the Tuesday show because I want to know if CeeDee Lamb being out is making Dakota better because it looks like.
See. Stop reading my mind, Kate, because I've been talking to Cowboy fans all at the sports bar, and I was like, I'm kind of happy he's out because Dakota,
you guys, come on.
I'm not saying what I'm saying.
You two,
listen to what I'm saying. I need Dakota to learn to throw the ball to other people. Not that it's better, but that he
would rely on that
oh
one
my God.
person. If it wasn't there, he didn't have other options.
He has laid that ball into CeeDee Lamb's hands numerous times.
CeeDee Lamb dropped
dropped balls left and right.
What I'm saying is who he throws to. He looks for CeeDee the whole time, the whole game, all the time, and so he doesn't. He misses everybody, and he needs to learn. Yeah, he got
no issues with that.
I do, and that's why they can't win. He's not going to win with one receiver. Look at all of the great quarterbacks. Look at all of the great quarterbacks.
You got to have a second one so that.
They distribute the ball. Yes. It's a different person every week that may be that leader. And Dakota has to learn how to utilize his weapons. They are much better if he does that. That's going to help CeeDee even get more catches. Because
it was one of the things about Tom Brady that made me nuts because you never knew. Him and Peyton Manning both. You never knew which receiver he was going to key on this week. It was a different one every week. So from a fantasy perspective,
Dan Marino.
You couldn't start any of their receivers because you didn't know. CeeDee Lamb's the kind of receiver that's going to get double teamed. So you need to have a receiver 2 and a receiver 3 that you can go to when he's getting covered to force the defense to go over and cover that guy to get him back open again.
Every single one of those quarterbacks you named had a receiver. Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison Jr. Dan Marino had Mark Clayton.
But he also
had
Reggie Wayne.
He had Clayton. He had Duper. He had all of them, and he threw the ball to all of them. So that's all I'm saying is it's okay to have a CeeDee Lamb, but you have to get the ball. You have to move the ball around. That's all. If he moves it around just a little, it's going to help.
I don't think you say your team's better without CeeDee Lamb. I
didn't say the team was better without CeeDee Lamb. I said that Dakota needs to learn to play and throw the ball to other people. And CeeDee Lamb not being there, it's going to force him to do that.
He can take advantage of this time without CeeDee.
He has confidence in the other receivers as well, that he don't have to force throws, which he does. He forces throws to CeeDee all the time. And then if you only throwing to CeeDee and he drops half of them, you in trouble. Which he did.
I haven't seen that this year from him. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen him force the balls into CT. I see beautiful thrown balls and getting dropped. So
yeah. That was just one game, Lisa. He forces him to him all the time.
We all want CeeDee back, but Dakota needs to take advantage of this time without him to improve his skill set so that when CeeDee comes back, they're even better. How's that?
He can do it. He did it when we had Amari Cooper and CeeDee, and he's done it before. He's just sometimes, who knows what goes on in the locker room or what they're saying to him on the sideline, and that's making him do that. But he gets sacked a lot.
Oh, you know what's going on the sideline. CeeDee is in his ear saying, throw me the ball, I'm open.
And then I'm going to drop it when you throw it. So,
all right, back to college football. Big weekend for the U this week. Ladies, thank you, Lisa, for filling in for Sonia.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys talking about
kickers,
football, and the U. We're not talking about kickers today. Miami don't even need one. We're just not even.
Just do your job. Just do your damn job. That's all we got to talk. There, kicker talk's done. One job. Do it.
Pay the kickers. They're doing all the work.
Thank you to everyone in the chat who joined us tonight. Thank you for watching wherever you're at. This has been the Our Turf Football Podcast College Edition. And We'll be back next Tuesday with the NFL and next Wednesday with college again. Hope y'all have a great week. Bye.